Welcome back to Huawei Routing and Switching Elite Training for HCIE. Today topic we are going to discuss on route import and control. Let's start our part 11.
Let's look into the case number 2. So case number 2 is expanding. Alright, so the company B expand. So we are going to use back the same topology earlier on. Firstly, we are going to complete the basic ISIS configuration. As you can see, R3 and R4 is the router that can use both ISIS and Ospf. So here we are going to configure the ISIS. Alright, so we are going to configure the network ID. Second, we are going to import the 172.16.00/24, 172.16.20.24 into ISIS using filter policy. Now, as you can see from here, we have 4 of this route. So the question requires us to only allow to have the even number, okay? 172.16.0 and 2 never into it. So let's look into these two requirements in our lab now. Alright, so we have R1, R2, R3 and R4, and these are the 4 routers that we have to configure to use the ISIS. So let me go back into R1 first. Okay, so in R1 I have a network, 4 of this network attached to gig 002. So if I go to gig 002, just to show you, I have 4 network. So these are the 4 network that attach to gig 002, and we are going to configure the interface to using ISIS. So let's configure ISIS now. ISIS. So network entity, so I'm going to use a 47.0.0.0.1 okay, quant 0 0.0.0.0.1.0.0. okay, I'm going to configure the IS level to have only one level. Okay, I can use level 1 or level 2. In this case, it really doesn't matter. Alright, so I can use the level 2 here. Okay, and because on the requirement, they also allow us to do a import route. So it will be a good habit for you to configure your core style wide. Alright, because most likely in your question, they are going to ask you to use a tagging. And when you use a tagging, you have to use a core style. So since I'm in the ISIS view, might as well I just configure all in one go. So that will be on the router 1. So I'm going to just do a copy and paste here. So only on the system ID will be changing. Alright, so that will be on R1. So I go to R2. I'm going to paste this in. Alright, that will be number 2. Okay, and I'm going to number 3 now. Alright, and the final one, I'll go to number 4. Okay. Right, next we are going to enable the ISIS on the interface. So I have 2 interfaces here, okay, which is the interface S100. Okay, I'm going to enable it. Okay, and S101 ISIS enable. Display ISIS interface. So I have 2 interfaces there. IPv4 is enabled. Then I'm going to go to R2. R2 have 4 interfaces. Okay, so interface 0100 ISIS enable, interface 0101 ISIS enable. Then I have gig 00 and gig 001. Alright, so that will be on my R2. Then I'm going to go for R3. R3 is only on the gig 00. Okay, and final one on R4 in gig 001, which is this interface. Right, so I have my Ospf on the other side has been configured earlier on. So just to confirm, on the R4 display Ospf peer, I have 1 peer. You can see that it's full. Display ISIS peer. I also have another peer here which is on my R2. So the first requirement is done, and on the second requirement is that we are going to import the 172.16.0 and 172.16.2.0 in the connector interface into RSI. So we have to go back into R1 over here, okay, to do the import. So first we are going to configure the HCL. Remember that we only want the even number, so we say that rules permit source 172.16.0.0.002.0. That's my wildcard. So I do a display HCL all. Okay. So the rest it will be denied, and I don't have to configure any deny statement here. And I'm going to do an import now. So I go back into ISIs. Okay, I'm going to do an import route direct. At the same time, I'm going to do a filter policy. That's what the question asked for. So I'm going to use the filter policy ACL, and just now I'm using ACL is 2000. So I'm going to do an export here, and I'm using a direct. Okay, so that's it. That is my import route direct, and I also do a filter, and I filter export. So let's check out our configuration to see if I receive. Okay, the ISIs. Yes, I do. Alright, you can see that there's a 0/24 as well as 2/24 that I received from both the serial interfaces. So that on the R2, and if I go to R3, I should be able to see as well. That's on the 172. Alright, so you can see that these are the two routes, and final confirmation on router 4. Okay, so we have met our two requirements. So let's look into the third requirement now. Alright, so next requirement here, that's the third requirement. We have to configure R3 and R4 to import route from each other. So we are going to do a mutual importing on both sides. And please be aware that once you do that, you will have a routing loop. And for us to prevent the routing loop, we are going to do a tagging. Now remember, in ISIS, right, in your exam, once they ask you to do a tagging, remember that the course style must be white, or else the tagging will not work. Okay, now the strategy will be configure or tabulate out the tag. Alright, so I'm going to configure the route policy. First is the ISIS into the Ospf. Then I have Ospf into the ISIS. Okay, so I have the two routers here, R3, R4 for both sides. And we are going to apply a tag. Okay, and we also will have a deny. Okay, deny tag. So firstly, we have to look into the first one here. So when we do an import ISIS to Ospf, let's say we are going to start from R4. Okay, so when we import ISIS into the Ospf, we are going to have a tag of 100, let's say. Okay, so I'm going to use 100. But from Ospf back into the ISIS, we have to deny the 100. Okay, deny the 100 from here. Okay, so we have tag 100, but when R3 import back, it have to be removed. Okay, so that will be on first side here. That is on the R4. Okay, next we are going to do on the Ospf to ISIS. Okay, Ospf in the ISIS in R3. Let's do here. So if we do an Ospf to ISIS, we are going to use 100, and for us to go back here, 100 have to be denied. So here, so sorry, that will be the same tag, so that's not 100, that will be on 200, sorry, so that will be on 200. So I'm going to add the 200 here. Okay, I'm going to apply a tag of 200, but on the R4, I'm going to deny the 200. Okay, so I import from Ospf into ISIS, I add a tag, and when I import back, I'm going to deny to import if I found the 200 tag. Okay, so that will be on both sides. Okay, on the ISIS and Ospf. Next, if let's say I'm going to have the Ospf to ISIS the other way around, okay, Ospf into ISIS, I'm going to use a 300. And when I go in, I have 300. So from ISIS back into the Ospf, I'm going to minus the 300. So I'm going to have deny 300 over here. I'm going to add a 300 tag over here. And the final one will be on the 400. So I'm going to apply a 400 tag, all right, when ISIS into the Ospf, and I'm going to minus the 400 when I do the reverse. Okay, so firstly, whenever you do this type of configuration, tabulate out your tag. All right, so once you tabulate your tag, it will be easier for you to configure your policy later on.
Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel.